Hey everybody, it's Andrew Ainsworth here down at the Golf Academy. I've got a question for all the golfers watching this video. Are you a really good chipper of the ball around the greens from 30, 40 yards out? Would you consider yourself as a good chipper stroke pitcher? Well, if you are, you probably don't want to watch this video anymore. But if, like lots of golfers, you struggle from around the green with the little chip shots or the little pitch shots, stay tuned. I may have the answer for you. Hey everybody, welcome to the video. Good to have you along. So, pretty bold statement, isn't it? Saying I might have the secret to your chipping and short pitching problems, but this is a really interesting one from Ping. How this club's come about, which we'll give you full sort of details on in a moment, is that a lot of golf clubs that Ping have made are fitted with the Arcos system until the world kind of ran out of the Arcos sensors that go in the grips. But they've provided free of charge Arcos sensors which just screw into the end of the clubs when you buy Ping clubs, and then you can subscribe to Arcos, and it's a way of tracking your stats. Basically, it gives you your distances and your performance and all the rest of it. So Ping get access to, I guess, thousands, maybe millions of golfers' data. And what they've looked at is where most golfers lose the most shots. And they figured out with the Arcos data that between this sort of 20, 30, 40 yard range, that's where the majority of golfers don't score very well. So they put their heads together with the clever engineers and thought, why don't we kind of introduce something that we'd done many years ago and design a chipper? Now, back in the mid-1970s, my research tells me, we'll put up some images as we talk to you, Ping had a chipper called the ChipO. From memory, it was round about 20, I'm thinking 28, maybe 30 degrees of loft, so somewhere around about a 7-iron loft-ish. Length of a putter, and as the name implies, it was a chipper. Now, chippers have had a pretty bad press and reputation over the years. There's been many chippers made. Most companies have attempted to make one. Back in the UK, there was a company called Bronte who did clubs called Chip Masters. And they always had this reputation that if you're using a chipper, you either weren't a very good golfer or you had some serious issues with chipping, like yips. So you never used to see, good golfers in inverted commas using chippers. Now, from my experience of coaching for over 35 years, I see a lot of golfers who are poor chippers. They're either using the wrong club, they're trying to chip with too much loft or too little loft, and the technique's poor. It's either too wristy or they decelerate, lots of things. Anyway, let's tell you about this chipper, spelt ChipR. Let's jump onto the Ping website and give you some overview of this. So, fully engineered for golfers who lack confidence with their traditional wedge and frequently struggle with chip shots. The chipper combines elements of a putter and a wedge to improve performance around the greens, lower scores without the fear of chunking or blading shots. Let's get down and have a little look at some of the tech spec on this. Recommending for shots within 40 yards of the green, and you think of how many shots in a round of golf you're playing from 40 yards and in. If you look at the stats, it's an awful lot. So I think the clever thing about this is what they've done is they've really looked at the spec of it. It's got the loft of a 9-iron. Let's just go into the specs actually and look at how this is put together. So if I could get onto it, that would be helpful. Come back specifications. So we've got a loft of 38.5 degrees. Okay. We've got a length of 35 inches, putter length-ish. I know a lot of putters these days are 34-inch. But here's the thing, we've got a lie angle of 70 degrees. So when I pick this up, I can get myself in quite upright if you compare that to what a wedge would be. So I can get myself pretty much into my putting stroke setup where my arms are pretty much almost hanging vertically, and it sits really nicely. So what we'll do in a minute is we'll demonstrate how we can play it like a putter. Let's just jump back to the other technology bits. So forgiving design, it's made out of stainless, perimeter weighted to give you forgiveness. Cavity badge, hydropearl chrome, which repels water. We see all the technology that they've used in their glide for wedges. Cambered sole allows for a smooth transition through the rough and the fringe, some maximum versatility. And the other interesting thing is you've got this dialer wedge grip. The dialer wedge grip is a great idea which they came up with a few years ago. And basically what you've got is 3 different positions where you can place your hands on the club. So I could hold it at full length, I can get down to position 2, or I can get down to position 3 to either change the length of the shot or give me more control over it. So I've tested this fairly extensively and it really does work. And I'm not saying that because I'm a ping fitting centre and I sell a lot of ping equipment. This, I think, would benefit so many golfers. Let's get the simulator fired up. Let's set up some simulations for sort of a long chip and run shot and also show you how versatile it can be for some pitch shots. Let's get on there. Okay, here's the deal on the simulator. What I've got here is I've got 38 yards to the flag. I'm at the front of the green, I'm on the fringe, but I've got a lot of ground to cover here, and you won't see this until the ball gets on the green. For the last sort of 15 feet, it goes severely uphill. So it's one of those shots where I've got a lot of green to work with. I kind of want to feel like I'm going to get the ball on the green and get it running, rather than me trying to get like a 56 or a 60 degree and fly this onto this top shelf and then try and get it to stop and control it. I want to play the percentages, and this is exactly where this ChipR club is going to come in for me. I'm going to be playing it pretty much like a big putt. I'm going to have the ball position sort of in the centre. I'm standing pretty much as I would for putting, sort of, you know, fairly tall. I'm sort of halfway down the grip, and I'm just going to go with quite a big putting stroke here. You will get a little bit of hip rotation coming into this shot as you start to make longer strokes. We're not trying to keep everything absolutely still. I would maybe do that on some shorter shots. But have a little look at this. I'm just going to turn the lights down a little bit so you get the full effect. The graphics improve when we get the lights down. We don't get as much bounce back from the lights. So here I go, 38 yards to the flag. I'm halfway down the grip. I'm just having a couple of practice swings just to try and get a feel for this. So let's give it a go. So it just feels like a little sort of push forward, really, just quite a simple stroke. And I'm going to have to feel the distance as I hit some. I've knocked that to 11 feet. So, you know, a makeable range. I'd like to try and get it a little bit closer. But the whole deal with this, I think, for golfers as a whole, dependent on your skill levels, is you can make the stroke fairly simple. You don't have to worry about wrist hinge or this, that and the other, you know, attack angle. We're just basically doing a big putting stroke. Oh, that's... Sorry about that. Apologies, that's terrible. I hit that so hard and I've just put it over the back of the green. So should probably edit that out, but I'll leave it in there. I think that's what we would call operator error. Okay, pulled that one a little bit, but I'm just curious just to see. I didn't feel that was a particularly good strike or execution of the shot, but from nearly 40 yards out, I've just knocked that to 7 foot 5 inches, and you know, I would probably fancy my chances of making that putt. So you get the idea. It's really the simplicity of the setup. That could be quite good. Yep, starting to kind of tune into the feel a little bit. Again, 5 foot 10 inches. Let me just put some lights back on. So I think bar that second shot, which was me, excuse me, just getting a little bit heavy-handed, I've given myself a really good chance of getting up and down from 38, 40 yards using a very simple method. I personally, because I don't play a huge amount of golf anymore, get a little bit yippy on these shots. You know, off a tight lie, they scare me to death, some of these shots, but using this sort of club and this sort of stroke, there's not a lot to go wrong. Even if I caught the ball a little bit fat or thin, I think I would still get that ball going forward and give me a chance of getting it within sort of 10 feet. Now, got one more of a shot to show you. I'll be right back. Okay, here's the situation, everybody. We are now 44 yards away from the flag. We've got a big bunker between us and the green. We have to go aerial. We don't have to kind of fly this in too high. I guess the traditional way of playing this shot would be to go maybe with a gap wedge or a sound wedge, fly it most of the way and then try and stop it. But I've got green to play with here. So this is going to be ideal for using the chipper. Remember, we've got a 9-iron loft. I'm just going to maybe push the ball forward a little bit in the stance, but I'm just going to keep the actual swing fairly wrist free. I'm not trying to cock the wrists or anything fancy like that. I'm just letting the loft of the club get the ball up in the air. I think I have had a couple of warm-up shots on this just to get the lay of the land, and it does seem to bend, swing round a little bit left to right when it hits the green. So let's just let literally the loft of the club get this in the air. Oh, I duffed that. That was a complete duff. I think if I had done that with a sound wedge or a gap wedge in my hand, that I'd been lucky if that cleared the bunker. I know it's still miles away, but it's 18 feet. That's a great example of a complete mishit. That's going to come round on the slope, run down to the flag, and I finished 4 foot 4 inches from the flag. It's very difficult to completely mishit this club. I would say neither of those shots were particularly well struck. That one's a bit thin. Thin and short. Let's try again. That's a better strike. That could be quite good. Lovely. Ooh, run on a bit, hasn't it? Quite quick as it hits that slope. 10 foot 1 inches. Let's go one more. Could do have a little bit more elevation on this. That could be absolutely ideal. Stop! Just hits the slope and runs on 7 foot 5 inches. So a good selection there. Some really horrible hits and some quite decent hits. But again, if we bring that up on the screen, remember we're 44 yards away here, folks. Dreadful. That was the one I hit in the bunker, which we can maybe just get rid of that. You'll have to forgive me for my yippy one there. But let's get rid of that. And then all of a sudden, 18 foot mishit, decent, 4 foot 4 inches, 10 foot, 7.5 foot. So my average there on those 4 shots from 44 yards out was 10 feet away, which isn't amazing, but it's not bad, is it? You know, you think yourself, if you can knock it to 10 feet, you've got a chance of holing the putt. And from 44, 45 yards out, 40 yards out, that's all you're really trying to do, isn't it? Is give yourself a chance of getting up and down. So there we go. It's the chipper from Ping. I think it's a game changer. Price-wise over here in the UK, we're looking at somewhere between £139 and £159 retail, dependent on where you buy your equipment from. It's fully custom fittable. Lies can be done to the usual 10 specs of lie changes. You can have different size grips, you can have different lengths of shafts, so it's fully custom fittable to your specs. Thanks for watching the video today. It's been fun. I love the chipper. Can't wait to get it out on the golf course and see how it performs in the real world. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're not a subscriber, may consider hitting that button down there. And if you think the video is any good, you could do us a big favor and give it one of those thumbs up. That's it. All the best. I'm gone. Bye for now.